G'day. Tiny here. Off Tap Brewing video number 3. The BM50. Wow. What can I say about the Braumeister from Spiegel? Those Germans know how to make a good beer. They know how to make a good brewing system too. First beer of the day, low grav. I can tell by the carbonation in it that I'm just about out of that keg. Definitely time to wet the whistle. This video might go on a bit because there's a fair bit to this system. Okay, the BM50 has 3,200 watts of heating. It has 2 pumps. The pumps are very small and very easy to take apart and clean. Might as well see if I can show you the pumps. I don't know how well you can see in there. That's one pump there. You remove that ring and the pump just falls off. There's another pump on the other side. Very simple. And that's the taking apart cleaning effort of it. Inside we have a rod. This is a measuring rod, plus it allows me to screw the malt pipe down and hold the malt pipe in place. It comes already calibrated with markings. So the BM50 has markings for the 55 litres and also has markings for the 20 litre malt pipe down there. You can buy a smaller malt pipe, which I do have. You can see the 2 rings of elements. You've got the inner ring and the outer ring. You can see the holes for the pumps. Pump over there, the hole there sucks down and spits up. Over there, sucks down and spits up. So when the malt pipe's in, the malt pipe sits in between the 2 elements, so it's heating on the way down and heating on the way up to maintain a very specific temperature. There's the temperature probe there. Sorry, this is pretty tall and I'm just leaning over it. Anyhow, the malt pipe sits in there. The wort flows through the malt pipe, up and over the sides and down. And that happens continuously. The only time that stops is when the pumps are on a break. They go on a pump break every I think it's like 10 minutes or something. They stop for 2 minutes or a minute just to give themselves a rest so they don't burn out. The Braumeister comes with a malt pipe, which is this thing down here, that's what I put my grain in. The malt pipe has lugs there and down further. And those lugs are for this handle to pick it up. And they are also for the staple which goes over the top of the Braumeister so you can sit those lugs on it. So when you lift the malt pipe out, you turn it and drop it down on top of this staple. And the water drains out, or the wort drains out. And then you pick it up, turn it around again, and put it on the lower lugs down here, and you can leave it sit there and let it drain. And that's what the staple does, and that's how easy it is. It also comes with the rubber seal that goes around the bottom of the malt pipe. It comes with a locking bar which goes across the top of the malt pipe. Whoa. Goes across the top of the malt pipe, and the wing nut locks the malt pipe into position, so when the pumps start, the malt pipe's not floating around in there. So comes with 2 of these. I think it's about 3mm stainless steel perforated, which is brilliant for sparging. Comes with 2, one on the top, one on the bottom, and both of those have your mesh. Your filter mesh. I put the one on the bottom, goes on like that and goes in and down. Then you put your grain in, you stir your grain up, then you put your top one on. I put the filter down first and then I put that over the top on the top. In the instructions it doesn't say to do that. In the instructions it says to just put it on like that and off you go, but I do it the other way. Don't know why, I'm just funny like that. So that's sitting in there on top of the grain. with that bar across it and all locked into position. Now, that stops the grain coming out the top, obviously. That's a no-brainer. Okay, in the book of the Brewmeister, I think it says, I didn't look it up, just going off memory here, complete memory, I think it's 9 kilos to 12 kilos of grist is its capacity in this pipe. I do have the smaller pipe and can use the smaller increments in the Brewmeister to run the 20 litre pipe and just do the small batches like that. I don't think I've ever used it. I don't know why I bought it. But it says it's got a minimum grain level and a maximum grain level. 12 kilos and 9 kilos, as I said. I have run up to 13 in it, and I have run as low as 8. Now the 8 gets a bit dodgy because the malt in the pipe is moving up and down when the pumps go on and off. That top filter is going up and down. It did filter out and come out pretty clear. This thing filters itself like, by the time you're halfway through your protein rest, by the time you're halfway through your saccharification rest, this wort is crystal clear. By the time you're at the end, it is immaculate. It filters itself through a grain bed. It's just awesome stuff. But the less grain you have in there, the more it's going to move. And obviously the more grain you have in there, the harder it's going to be to pump that wort through. So 13 is about as high as what I go with it. There are a couple tips and tricks that I use to use less grain and to use a little bit more grain, and they have to do with this lug on here. Obviously the bar sits across there. I turn it over, put it down like that, and I put a smaller, when I put the bar across the top there, I put a little shim in there, just a little one, so it sits just a little bit higher but not all the way up. And that way I can get just a little bit more movement in the grain bed. Bit better utilisation of the pumps. Programming of the Brewmeister. It's very simple. It runs 5 phases. You hit enter. Program mode. Set temp 45 degrees. Mashing in. So when I put my water in there, it'll heat the water up till 45 degrees, and then it'll tell me to mash in, add my malt pipe. Enter. Phase 1. Set time 15 minutes. You can set that time to whatever you want, but this is already programmed for me to do a protein rest at 53 degrees for 15 minutes. That's my phase 1. It's always my phase 1. I never change it. Phase 2. Obviously the last time I did this, I did an ale, so I had a 60-minute saccharification rest at 65 degrees, so a medium body. Medium body on that one. That's phase 2. Phase 3 is 10 minutes at 77, so that's my mash out. That's killing off the enzymes. Phase 4, nothing. Phase 5, nothing. Boiling, 96 minutes at 102 degrees. Enter, and then I hit start. You've also got a manual mode where you hold the menu button down and it comes up with a manual mode. Set temperature. Obviously you can go up and down, and then it gives you your actual temperature, and then you can hit H for pump. H for pump. That's a good one. H for heat and P for pump. Yeah, that. Just got that. Now, obviously I won't run those because there's no water in it. I don't want to ruin it. That's easy. With the 5 phases you can set whatever you want. You don't have to have a protein rest. You can have an acid rest, then a protein rest. You can have, you can, with the 5 phases in there, you can do very intricate step mashing. If you want, you can play around with it and experiment and, do whatever you want with it. I do some of my beers at 62 degrees for like 70 minutes, and then jack them up to 68 for 15 or 20 minutes. Play around with them that way, just for my own personal beers. Pardon me. For the recipes that I brew, I have a very set program that I put in and set and forget. Oh, pardon me. The Brewmaster Set and Forget Pro. Very small system, small footprint in your house. Definitely a pro. Easy to clean, pro. What the specifications say you can do and what you can actually do are different. Pro, I suppose. Cons. Cons on this baby. The time it takes. Being an all-in-one system, having to heat your water up, having to mash in, having to mash out, and then heat up, and then if you wanted to go again for the day, turns the day into a long day. That's about it for the cons, really. People say in the forums you can't get the high gravity beers out of the Brewmaster. I beg to differ. You can mash in twice. It does make your day a little bit longer because you're doing 2 mash steps. But you can put, say, 10 kilos of grain in, or if you wanted to start with your little malt pipe and do a 20 litre mash with 5 kilos of grain, and then put the big, like, don't mash out, don't bring it up to the 77, just finish it at its 65 degrees for an hour, pull that grain out, right, sparge with a little bit of water, sparge with a bit of extra water to bring it up to the 50 litre mark, put your big malt pipe in, put your grain in, because sparge and add cold water to bring it back down under 65 degrees, because you'll already have the enzymes in the water, so you just need it to be around the 65 degrees again, just a little bit under. When you add the big malt pipe in and you mash in with the, say, an extra 10 kilos of grain, so your grain bill or your grist just went up to 15 kilos, or you could do more, you could do 12 and 6, whatever combination, you can do the high gravity beers, I guarantee it. There's nothing holding the system back except your time. Yeah, I would recommend the Brewmaster to anyone that had it in their budget. The 50 litre one over the 20 litre one, of course, because you can do more with it. The 20 litre one, you can still do the big gravity beers in there, but you are limited to 23 litres or 25 litres of wort. Where this, I get 70 and I can do 45 or 40. So I've got 30 litre leeway in this. Some maximum volumes. One thing you have to be careful of with these is your crush. You definitely have to sort your crush out. If you have it too fine, you will get what's called a malt fountain. So the water basically finds its easiest way through the grain and then shoots up the top. Just concentrate a big jet stream of hot, sticky liquid coming at the top. I've had that happen to me once. I've had dough balls once in it, and that was my own fault completely. I've had a malt fountain once on a brew day, and that was my second batch, I think, in it. But I just played around with my barley crusher, and I got it set perfect. So your crush is very important with these, not so with like using a mash tun or anything like that, or brewing a bag. This is very specific. If you don't crush it enough, you waste your money on your grain because you're not getting very good efficiency. If you crush it too much, then you just a headache for the day. You've got to try and sort it out. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the 3 videos that I've done on simple systems. I have seen other people's systems, and I am envious of Paul Wickstead and Tony Yates for their big systems and that, because I could churn out some serious brewage on those. I would be brewing all day, every day. I would have pallet loads of wort. But yeah, hopefully those guys are going to do some videos and let me know pros and cons on their system. Hopefully you've seen some stuff in my videos that, from the first one, the little pot, hey, I'm going to step up to that and I'm going to change my kit and kilo to mini mash. Or, I'm going to boil my own hops in there or something. I'm going to create my own recipe just out of malt extract. To the brew in a bag, where you step up and electric urn, or do you go electric or do you go gas? I've never used gas, so I don't know. I've used electric all the time. Up to the Brewmaster. Hopefully I'll have 4. I want 4. Yeah, so hopefully you've learnt something along the way. If you have any questions or anything I've missed or because you know it's hard to keep it short and to tell you as much information as I can about the thing and keep it short. If you want to know anything else about it, please again click the typey type box and do the typey type thing, and click the likey like thing, and if you're not subscribed to me, please do, and yeah, click those other things that you see around the place. Support the brewer, he needs it, and remember, beer makes you smarter.